Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, now I'm going to have a full review of yesterday's game, and we will be able to calm our nerves to properly dissect every of the events that unfolded in that particular draw yesterday. Ended Brentford 1, Arsenal 1 at the GTEC Stadium, 2 points drop, important one. Yes, but let's not forget that Arsenal still maintain a 4 point lead at the top of the table. In about 4 weeks ago, Arsenal were just this 4 points, and they're back to 4 points. It's been up, and down. But then let's get right into it. First and foremost, a very big credit to Brentford yesterday and their manager, Kate Andrews. Honestly, they had top performance. It was a very, very, very well coached team yesterday, and they got us now exactly where they wanted us to be. Honestly, the match was an intense one. They gave no silly chances away. They were so compact in both boxes, both in their defensive shape and their offensive shape. They overloaded all of the box area with all of the strengths that they have. I wouldn't see us now making a Arteta complain. That's how the league should be played. That's the football game. Bring all of your weapon from your arsenal, throw it into the game, and make the game more comfortable for you. A number of balls loaded into that box yesterday. Honestly, very kudos to some very good Arsenal players at the back line yesterday to have sort out all of those dangers, even if it were a bit scrappy in most of the time. Yesterday we were without a William Saliba, but Mosquera did his best, even if he had a bit nervy moment, but he was up to the task yesterday. Now, let's not forget that if you properly see that game yesterday, you know that it could have been much more worse. Trust me, a point from that game, if not that it looked like we dropped a bit of point because of the title race, it was a good point yesterday because yesterday our performance was not top notch at all. But if you can't win the game when you're in the title race, don't lose it. Honestly, just like what Declan Rice said after that match, don't lose it when you can't win it. Um, the thing that I need to make us understand as well is that we need to have that winning mentality that everyone has been speaking about. That winning mentality, that ruthlessness, that composure. Some of our players, we need to raise our levels and our standards. Yes, I know a lot of fingers will be pointing to the coach right now, but I want to tell you to us that a number of our players were just playing like it was a friendly preseason match yesterday. No intensity in that game, and they lacked directness. The first half was so poor, honestly. We got into that game about, let's say, 15 minutes to the end of the first half. Out of 45, 30 minutes was shambolic, and we couldn't lay hold of anything in that particular match. I don't like to mention players or call players out, but this was so visible. Eberechieze, you have not started games in about 9 games plus. You have not get involved in the goals in about 15 games plus, and you have an opportunity to start that game. And that was the lackluster performance our player put in. The pressing, you were not properly accompanying the Gyökeres with the press. He wasn't dominant enough to get. He wasn't just proactive in that game yesterday. Eze was totally off in that. That's why you see a lot of pundits speaking after the game. Nobody was surprised. Even the commentator said he wasn't surprised that Eze was choked off. And it looked like we wasted the first half. Coming into the second half, Martin Odegaard subbed in even after injured a few. I wouldn't expect him and Saka to play yesterday, but thankfully we had them on the bench. Came into the match and the game was fired up in the first 25 minutes of that game. Then we got a goal. His introduction into that game was visible after getting that goal from Madueke. Very good header from him, from the back post to the first post, middle of got the goal. We would have gotten the second goal about 2-3 minutes afterwards. Marcelo Gaston did the pass to Declan Rice. He wanted to shoot, but probably he felt Victor Gyökeres was in a better position to shoot. Laid the ball off, but Kayode on rushing, they wanted it more slide into that ball and chucked it off. It would have been a clear and direct goal for Gyökeres. Then we had from that set piece, we couldn't defend our box properly. Martin Odegaard, this is not the first time I'm seeing him very shaky. Yes, I know the player movement in the box was much, but then you need to be solid. You need to be more strong, more physical when you are defending your boxes with teams like this. It wasn't enough, and even in the process, he got a bit of knock. Martin Odegaard didn't remain the same after that knock, and he was totally off in that particular game. He was totally out of that game. Honestly, the only visible person that I can see that gave his 100% from beginning of the match to the end in that midfield was Declan Rice. Zubimendi yesterday was awfully quiet. They get into the game more of the time. We lost control totally after the goal, and Brentford began to pressure us. Pressure us. Another part of the game that I didn't like at all was that every of the substitution made yesterday, they were the right substitutions, but none of them impressed. Bukayo Saka, Gabriel Martinelli, Calafiori. There was no much bite like we had fresh legs. I can say even Noni Madueke, Leandro Trossard and Mikapi were much more ruthless and much more in that game. The substitution didn't come to the party at all. Probably we don't understand what exactly is what we are fighting for. We've been in a season whereby back-to-back 3 seasons we love the title. We've not been competing, and now we have the chance. Now players are not playing like gladiators. Honestly, last night it looked like Brentford would win the title race, and Arsenal were just like a mid-table team club. So this is not just about Mikel Arteta, it's about who wants it more, the mentality of our player coming into the game. And so honestly, if we play like this for the next 3 games, we are just out of the title race, and Man City go on to win the league. If we want to win the league, we need to be more ruthless, get into the game and do better than this. Mosquera yesterday slotted into the game for William Saliba, had a few shaky moments. There was a particular part that the ball bounced off him, Ugo Thiago. That sliding tackle is a point saving tackle. Had to retrace, and was good. Gabriel yesterday, honestly, was very, very important. A good leader yesterday. Did all he could, but what is enough, and we only had to make do with a point in that particular match yesterday. Very lucky one for Gabriel. Honestly, that could have been a second yellow card. I'm not going to be a part of the fan base that will just begin to speak rash. Honestly, for the way the referee whistled yesterday, it was fair play. That tackle, he just wanted to be a bit soft. Yes, that was the second yellow card that we could have got in Martin others. Imagine after playing 10, 15 minutes with 10 men, it could have been worse. I say again, yes, it could have been worse. Martinelli, I really don't know what to say about Martinelli. Big chances, these are what we need. Moments, we need individual brilliances and ruthlessness in some time. Even when you are not playing at your utmost best, you need to bury these chances. He had the same chance against Nottingham Forest. Away from home where we drew 0-0, he couldn't cover the chance. Today again, you need to just take one more step. Probably the keeper was down on the ground. You can't just miss these chances. We need to just score that goal and put the game to bed. Even if not in our best days, let's secure 3 points and move on to the next. So David Raya yesterday missed just one foot missed where he wanted to serve the ball to Declan Rice, and he covered up with a very brilliant save instantly, immediately. Very good save immediately. Yesterday was so vocal and important. The Brentford player was just circling around him like crowds yesterday. Honestly, he did his best, and I couldn't fault him for that goal at all. He was so dominant, and himself and all of the defensive shape were so important in that game yesterday. Aside Declan Rice, David Raya, Victor Gyökeres working us off his ass throughout that game. Gabriel, Mosquera, Timber was a bit quiet yesterday. I don't understand too. Incapié, all of our offensive players from Zubimendi to offensive, we didn't do enough. Aside Victor Gyökeres person, we need to do enough. Honestly, I don't know how Mikel Arteta wants to spoil these lads and ginger them. We need to do more. Honestly, if not for Igor Thiago that was misfiring yesterday, Arsenal would have lost that game point blank. Would have been an obvious loss. Probably Igor Thiago is a secret Arsenal fan. That guy needs to be needs to be investigated. Honestly, just missing chance upon chances, and we just have to be glad and lucky that it was a very off game. Now Arsenal advantage into the next game. The next run of games, about 4 games, City will be playing before us. But because of the schedule of the Carabao Cup final, Arsenal will be playing Wolves, and it has been rescheduled to next midweek. So that's an advantage for us. Win that game, Arsenal, next midweek, and we go 7 points clear. So Man City will be the one chasing. We know we have that game, very important. I can say it's the most important game in the season so far now. If we lose that game to Wolverhampton Wanderers, honestly, Arsenal, just forget it. The pressure will be piling, and we have nothing to do more in that game. Share with me in the comment section, guys. What are your opinion about the games, and what you think affected the game? What are your suggestions that could help us moving forward? Don't forget to have first class access to my content. Hit the follow button, like, and subscribe. Thank you, guys.